You can read a lot into a face, not just about our emotions, but who we are and where we come from. Look in the mirror, and it's thousands of years of history that look back at you. Written into our facial features is a story going back countless generations. It's a story of migration and integration, of conquest and war. We look as we do because of our genes. Genes that have been handed down over thousands of years through countless generations. In this series, we'll be giving the results of the biggest ever genetic survey of Britain. For the first time, we'll know the true ancestry of the British regions. The survey promises some remarkable answers and big surprises in revealing who we really are. I'll be meeting famous faces and ordinary people to find out how many of us are descended from ancient Celts, Anglo-Saxon farmers, Viking warriors, and Norman invaders. As an archaeologist, I'm fascinated by piecing together evidence that helps explain who we are and where our ancient ancestors came from. And as this series has gone on, it's been amazing to discover just how many clues to our ancient past can be found in the DNA of ordinary Britons. I'm intrigued by the idea that those ancient peoples passed on their genes and influenced the way we look. Genetic science has opened up a whole new branch of archaeology, and one of the pioneers of this new discipline is the eminent geneticist Sir Walter Bodmer. In a mammoth project, Sir Walter and his team of scientists at Oxford University are collecting DNA samples from thousands of volunteers all over the country. It's a study which could rewrite the history of Britain.
Our aim is to understand what we call the genetic structure of the population. We know historically that there were different contributions, and we know that from history, but that often tells us only about the rulers, the main people. It doesn't tell us about how many people came, what really was the composition of the populations, how is that reflected in modern day terms, and we can answer that through looking at the DNA.
In effect, Sir Walter is creating a DNA map of Britain, a kind of genetic doomsday book, which reveals just how Celtic, Anglo-Saxon or Viking we really are. And to help interpret the DNA results, I'm travelling Britain with Sir Walter's team, looking at the archaeological record, regional dialects and other clues. So far, the study has revealed that people in Devon, Cornwall and southwest Wales are descended from the hunter-gatherers who first settled Britain about 10,000 years ago. On the east coast, it's a different picture. Here, the population is overwhelmingly Anglo-Saxon, carrying DNA brought over in the 5th and 6th centuries from Denmark and Germany. Now Sir Walter is on the hunt for the legendary Norse Vikings, who came in their longboats in the 9th and 10th centuries. The question is, to what extent did they leave their mark on the British bloodline? Are descendants of the Vikings living among us today? To find out, Sir Walter's team is heading north, to one of the most remote spots in Britain, where, 1200 years ago, the Vikings launched a series of devastating attacks. For the Vikings, the Orkney Islands were ideally placed, between their Norwegian homeland, their new colonies in Iceland and Greenland, and the coastlines which they regularly plundered, in Ireland and the west of Britain. The Orkneys were the longest held Norse stronghold in the whole of Britain. Amazingly, they remained part of the Norwegian-Danish kingdom well into the 15th century. And at that point, they were given to Scotland, believe it or not, as part of a royal wedding dowry. So there's every chance that Orcadians alive today will have Viking blood running in their veins. But here we hit upon a problem, which generations of historians have struggled in vain to answer. When the Vikings took over, what happened to the native Picts, the Celtic tribes who were already living here? I want to see if the Viking immigrants settled peacefully with the locals, or did they wipe them out? And I also want to know if the Viking men came alone, or did they bring their women with them? The answer to these questions is locked inside the genes of the modern-day Orkney Islanders. Islanders like Jean Flett, who has volunteered her own DNA for the study. Jean's surname, Flett, is a Norse Viking word meaning farmstead, and is a remarkably common Orkney name. Jean, it looks to me as though just about every other name on a gravestone is Flett. Just how long have your lot been here?
According to this book, we've been here at least since 1137. The records of the Earldom of Orkney.
Earldom of Orkney.
Yeah.
Torkel Flett,
Yeah.
a chieftain of Earl Paul, slain 1137.
Yes, so we were here before that.
So go back to the 12th century there.
Oh, yes.
Given how much you know about your history, and it goes back such a long way, what more are you hoping for from the genetic test results?
Well, I hope it'll prove what it says in this book. And
But they were a rotten lot.
oh, yes.
You want connection to that?
Yeah.
Bunch of baddies that arrived here.
Oh, yes. It's my history. I have to take it, accept it.
Jean can trace her family back to the Earls of Orkney, the mythical warrior kings in the Orkney-Inga saga. She's even got a name, Torkel Flett, slain in 1137. I want to know more about him. The problem with names is that they point at best to only the male half of your distant ancestry. Jean may well be the distant offspring of some cutthroat Viking pirate, but who was his mate? Was she a Viking carried over on the longboats, or was she a local Pict? Hidden in Jean's DNA is the answer to questions which have long fascinated ancient historians. Did the marauding Viking men bring their women with them, or did they force themselves on the wives and daughters of the Picts? And what fate befell the Pictish men?